We're live.
We are live.
Oh, and the pop-up is me, huh? It's all me.
It
It's
is.
all me. I kick it off. Pop up. Pew, pew. So it's been a good day today. It's been a good week, and it's almost Friday, so we have a lot to celebrate. Live for the weekend. Even though it is a lot of deep stuff going on in the world, and we're gonna get there, and we will uplift and edify. But I had a good day, a good week. I've been killing my gym goals, getting ready for vacation for Memorial Day weekend at the beach. So I've been working on my fitness,
You always working on your fitness, though. I don't know what you act like you ain't ever working on it.
You're right. It is a way of life, and I think for me, it is a level of therapy, and something I just find enjoyment in. So, and then like outside of I moved during the pandemic, so I moved out here in Maryland, and in the middle of nowhere. And so it is a way to be sociable. I see the same people there, dap them up or elbow bump because it's COVID. But yeah, my week is going well. Work is going well. I really don't have much to complain about. And I've been trying to stay in a space where like nothing is going to disturb my peace. And we can get into that a little bit later. But Andre, how are you doing?
Well, I am doing well. I have been at work by myself this week. My team went TDY to Game Changer training. That's the training I went to a couple weeks ago. So I've been by myself at the office, but I am doing well nonetheless. Just been keeping busy with EO stuff, and I'm also making preparations for our equal opportunity leaders course coming up next month. So there's been a lot of consolidating students and getting class material ready. It's just been a lot, but yeah. Other than that, I'm good.
Nice.
It's been a chill week, like at home, but busy at work. So a pretty balanced week, I guess you could say. I'm just so thankful to be blessed and highly favored, and to have the Most High in my life, and for me to have a very close relationship with Him.
Amen.
Because I feel like, and we can talk about that later too. But I feel like, I'll say it now though. This little small piece. I feel like what I'm seeing around me is people not having a relationship with the Most High, and they're not doing as good as me.
Mm.
And I'll just leave that at that.
And I definitely want to hear more about that. And I think I got some things to say about that. But what we'll do is, we'll give the countdown and show our little promo and do our head bops and be right back. We just love our little tune. Yeah. So where should we start? The relationship with the Most High thing. We big on that on this channel. But go ahead.
Yeah, I'll start since I brought it up before we went to the countdown. I'll talk. I mean, I'm not going to talk too long about it, but I think it was just on my heart to talk about it, just because of the different things the different scenarios and situations that I've been seeing a lot of my friends in. And I'm not going to go into detail about what I'm seeing with my friends because that's their business. But I'm noticing that, and I'm noticing that there are people that I know that I'm very close to that are not living their best life. And I say that because I feel like those individuals are not, I mean, I'll say this, and this may sound terrible, but they're not doing a lot of self-reflection as far as as far as how things should be going in their life. And I'm going to explain what I mean by that. I feel that when individuals lack the relationship with the Most High, they don't have direction. There is no direction for that individual in their life. So if you're relying on the universe or the worldly things to guide you, and that's it, without having a relationship with the Most High, you're setting yourself up for failure. And that's what I've been seeing. And I've been seeing really good people just every couple days is something new, something tragic, something crazy has happened. I'm not talking about like circumstantial stuff. I'm talking about situations where, in my mind, I feel like it could have been avoided. But I just feel like there's the friends that I have that are going through situations in their life that, and not even just that. Well, I'll add to that, not having direction, not really having it's kind of like saying, I'm going to live my life and with no limits, no boundaries. No, it's just like, I'm just going to just live and exist. I'm just going to exist on this world, and whatever happens to me, happens to me. And for me, when I look at that attitude coming from some of my friends, I'm like, ooh, like, well, as you live your life, who are you talking to?
Yeah.
What relationship are you having with the Most High? What are your are you sitting with yourself? Are you really sitting with yourself? And I feel that that's what drives a lot of situations and circumstances that do happen in people's lives, is because of that non-relationship with the Most High. And I feel like it's affecting people. And for me, what I try to do as a friend is just say, I try to throw in there a little bit like, okay, well, have a relationship with the Most High. So yeah, that's what I feel. I feel that there are a lot of good people out there. I'm not calling them evil or bad people. They're good people, but they just have no direction. And I feel like when you have a relationship with the Most High is going to guide you in the direction that you need to go in this life, and reveal things to you that are going to help you grow and evolve and actually exist in this crazy world we're in. And watch on the sidelines. I'm literally feeling like Brandon can probably attest to this too, where we're watching from the sidelines, things going on. We just be like, yeah,
like, we'll be here for you when you're ready to see us, when you're ready to seek, revelation on what you should do with your life. And I think there's one caveat that I want to make. An adjacent point to what you're saying is, these people that you're talking about, because Andre and our friends outside the show, we don't just do the show together, but we're friends and we talk usually at least once a day. I would say the people that you're talking about and the people that I know and the people that these are people who have, I would say, a strained relationship with the Most High, or they know of the Most High, but they're not cultivating that relationship. So it's like, I could give the best advice to anyone. You could give the best advice to anyone, but if they don't remember, there was a scene in iRobot, and remember, it was like it was that little thing, and it put up this hologram of the older man, and he left a message for Will Smith, and he was like, you got to ask the right questions. And I think that if there's a message that I could get to my friends, to people who might be on the fence of believing in the Most High, and then there's some people who haven't reached the end of themselves yet. And I think it really takes, some people a lot longer, and it takes them reaching the end of themselves. And unfortunately, sometimes they make some rash decisions, and it changes the direction of their entire life. But it doesn't mean they're too far from redemption. But I will say, people who haven't started their relationship with the Most High at this point, I think life is going to get more and more difficult. And what I think is interesting for me in my life right now, I feel like with everything going on now, I see why about a week ago, I would say the Most High gave me remember I told you this, Andre, like he gave me like an extra dose of peace. Like, it was just like I was overcome with peace. I went to the doctor and my blood pressure was 111/69. I never had I never been on medication for blood pressure, but it was usually borderline high, not all the way high, but like up there, you know, the 138s and the 139s and stuff, 140s sometimes. But it was at 111 over 69. And I just feel like because I made the right decision. And, you know, I ain't never afraid to expose myself in a manner of helping people see things. Like I sought the Most High in my marriage. You know what I'm saying? I didn't just decide to get a divorce. You know, like I seek the Most High over every decision, over every place. Like, where should I be stationed? Where should, you know what I'm saying? How should I use my finances? Why would we not seek the most credible resource that we ever have, that we ever will have? Like, Andre, you might fail me, I might fail you, but the Most High never will. Never will.
And even for me, I'm not going to sit here and say that I was perfect in my relationship with the Most High. Let's say, I'll even say 5 years ago, I probably wasn't at my best. But I feel like now, with the pandemic taking place predominantly, was when I really started to ensure that I had a relationship with Him by saying, okay, I know God's got me. I know He does. And the confidence and the trust that I have in Him is allowing me to live right now in this current moment at peace. I really am at peace. I am faced with some challenges in my life, but I'm not letting it overcome. Not letting it overtake me, because due to my relationship with the Most High. So I see Everett and Elisa are on. Hey, Everett and Elisa.
Hey, Everett and Elisa. Yeah, y'all know at any moment in time, you can jump in the comments. You know, we don't have a topic necessarily. If there's anything y'all want us to cover, let us know where you're watching from. If you don't mind, if you do, then, you know, don't let us know where you're watching from, but say hi to us in the comments, like, share, join the conversation. And once again, if there's any topic that you want to get our opinion or perspective on, we're here to do that. And you could also give us your perspective, and we'll put your comments up on the screen, unless you tell us not to.
Well, I'm just glad Everett's in the right room this time. Right. To see his comments.
Yeah.
You know,
but like that makes me. Yes, Everett, you did it right this time. That makes me, you know, because you said, you know, your relationship with the Most High wasn't always perfect. I think that, you know, remember that text I sent you this week? I'd be having like I really feel like the gym is a sanctuary for me. And so I'm at the gym, and I don't know if it's because I got my music in my ears, and it's always either Christian rap or worship music or whatever. And so, you know, it'd be thumping, and I just be in there and I'm just focused. And it was like I had this moment where I was just so grateful to know the Most High in an authentic way. And I remember saying to you, Andre, like, there's no middle human in between it. It's not like I got to go to my pastor or my priest or my imam or my, you know what I'm saying, or my rabbi to get to the Most High. I go directly to Him. And that, you know, I'm just so thankful that I didn't let the religious dogma, religious institutions determine how I'm supposed to live my life, because that's what each one of us are supposed to do. So on this channel, we don't preach no religion. We preach a relationship. We preach a lifestyle, and let the Most High tell you how you should live your life. Because I mean, you know, we are two gay men, and we have a relationship with the Most High. And if you go to a religious institution, many of them say, "Oh, it's homosexuality," and they don't go and do their research. They don't really know what it's saying. They can't tell you, you know, the context of everything. And because of religious dogmatic institutions like that, guess what? That's what's going on in Israel and Palestine right now. And it's been going on for years. And evangelical Christians and Zionist Jews feel that it's okay to murder. You know what I'm saying? Y'all want to go there?
Yeah, so Everett, Everett said the direct relationship is how it was meant to be, no middleman needed. But I want to read his comment before that, where he said, "Hey, 3000, I'm in my feelings already with the facials." He's talking about my facial expressions. That's what he's talking about. Yes.
What's that called in EO school? What do they call it? Non-verbs.
Non-verbs. My non-verbs be on fire. Now, mind you, I'm not an EOA right now. I'm Andre Brooks.
You're right.
So my non-verbs will be.
This is my show. This is our show. But yeah, like, you know, the religious dogmatic institutions and misinterpreting scripture has allowed, you know, the whole Israel-Palestine situation to go on for far too long. And it's so interesting to me because I've been watching everything and I done post everything. And if you my Facebook friend, you done seen it, you scroll down on my timeline and it's every major news source because I done watch every single one of them. And what I would say is it's interesting how by now, I mean, what day did they shoot up the mosque? I guess it was on the 7th or somewhere around May 7th, right? And it's interesting that this is during Ramadan, one of the holiest times, and they're fasting and all this stuff for Muslims, and the ultimate disrespect. And what no one is talking about at this point with the mainstream media, not ABC, NBC, BBC, you know what I'm saying, CNN, all these, every single one of them, you know what nobody's talking about? Of how it all started in the first place. You know, it's people try to play it so safe. I call it the Cuomoism, the both sides stuff. You know, the Trumpism, the both sides. It's very fine people on both sides. That no, these people are clearly living under, Palestinians are living under Israeli occupation. It's another form of genocide. It's another form of apartheid. Because they're Jewish, they say, "Oh, I'm finna live in your house." And they just, could you imagine, Andre, somebody just knocking on your door, you open it, and they bust in and they say, "I'm moving in because my bloodline is greater than yours, and so I'm just going to move in your house, and you ain't got no option. Whether you can try to detest it, you could try to say something, but at that point, the military or the police will just come and kill you or haul you off to jail." That's what they're living under and have been living under for decades. So it started in the 1940s. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then in the 1980s, it was, I think, was it Reagan or Nixon? I get them two mixed up. Whoever was president then declared that these settlements were illegal. So if you look at the map, Israel has continued to encroach upon Palestinian territory. And I think what is most interesting about all this is Palestinians, Jews, Israelis, Christians, and Muslims all live on the Gaza Strip and live peacefully. So the people are trapped in the middle, right, of the two governments. But it's interesting that, you know, when you hear the news reports, they're like, "Oh, it's both sides need to calm down." But it's only one side who's the occupying force. It's only one side who stormed the mosque. Could you imagine if Hamas stormed? It's interesting too that they declared Hamas as a terrorist organization, but the Israeli occupying force ain't terrorism.
So Everett says it is a form of control, or if you really want to go there, slavery. And what I mean is that one group is trying to stand above another group and think they are less than.
What, you know, we could take a curve, right? Skirt right there. I don't know why I'm curving tonight. But what's interesting too is if anybody is watching this show and they don't understand the colonialist attitude that exists even in America, all you got to do is look at this situation. Because what's interesting too is the biblical portion of who the Israelites really are genetically. If you really want to go to the bloodline, it's interesting because the Hebrew Israelites, which are Black, have been residing over there for a while, and they gave them citizenship, but then they basically took the citizenship away, and about 2 weeks ago started trying to kick those people out, saying you got to go. They revoked their citizenship, and they're like, you got to go, the Black Hebrew Israelites. And I feel like that is very interesting, the timeline of it all. And Andre, you're about to say something.
Yeah, and what I was going to say was kind of what we talked about last night about that irrelevant man on that video that basically was not going to come out and just say that the Palestinians should be able to defend themselves.
Yeah.
And I was basically telling Brandon that, you know, what I've learned and what I've picked up on really my whole life essentially is that you know, a lot of people are denying that there's racism in this country, and we kind of talked about that last pop-up. But what I told Brandon was like, you know, it's interesting because a lot of people associate racism to actually coming out and saying that Black people are the N-word, or using derogatory terms or disparaging terms. Oh, that's racism because they actually did something or said something that was offensive or said something that was demeaning. And that's overt racism, right? That's being overly racist. But for that man to sit there, I don't know his name. I'm sorry, I should have put.
He works at it's the guy from the State Department, and if you just, I mean, if you Google it, it'll come up.
Okay,
I mean,
so
if you've been watching the story,
that's fine. The guy from the State Department, his name, I don't even want to say his name, so that's fine. The guy from the State Department basically was like that he was asked, well, not really asked, but just the fact that he just wouldn't say that like they should be able to defend themselves. He was skirting around that point without trying to say it. So like, you're trying to be so politically correct, I guess, if that's what you want to say. He was politically correct. I said, but no, like, how come you can't just come out and say it? Like, what is there any harm in you admitting that? And I just, for me, I was like, that's that covert racism. It's that subtle racism there by not just being honest and saying and being forthright and saying no, they should be able to defend themselves if they are being especially, I mean, we call it trespassing here, but I mean, you're basically invading somebody's space.
Yeah.
And I just felt that like it was just interesting to see how there was two individuals trying to just get him to just like, okay, don't you see that this is wrong? Like, don't you see? And he was just going around. I'm like, wow, like you can't just come out and just say what needs to be said.
And look, and they use over in Israel, they're using the court system to do it. They're using law enforcement to do it. They're using the military to do it. And now just look at America and how Black folks are treated in America and have been constantly for years. They use the court to do it. They use the banking system to do it. They use so it's almost like the same situation. It is the same situation. And really, you know, I had this question, you know, for the audience watching, let me ask y'all, like, where does the colonizer attitude come from? And Everett, if you want to expound on it a little bit more, you know, that would be great. And I also think it's very interesting when people use the Bible to actually do it. And that's the shameful part of it, that they're actually using God, their God. And in Revelation, you know, like I know sometimes people really don't, you know, they ain't really as thug as I am. I'm kind of a thug, I'm kind of gangster. But Revelation 2:8 and Revelation 3:8 talks about those who say they are Jews and are not, and do indeed lie. And that it talks about how they're part of the synagogue of Satan. And if these people are truly the people of the Most High, then why would they be doing these things to another human? Like if they believe the creation story, because they do read the Old Testament, even though they hold the Talmud at a higher level than the Old Testament, but if they believe that we all came from Adam and Eve, then where's the strength of your bloodline? Like, how's your bloodline? How are you better than any? And then if you go to the New Testament, which they don't read very much, you know, but if you go to the New Testament, it also talks about how the Most High doesn't even differentiate between Jew or Gentile. That under Yahusha, the one they call Christ, we're all one. He don't even differentiate between male and female. So all the males out there, you know, I was getting into it with some Africans on Facebook about, you know, because Africans a lot of times have that dogmatic religious institution, wives need to submit to your husbands and this kind of thing. I'm like, read that further, read that deeper. The woman is not the lesser, because I think, Andre, what you're saying is the covert racism leads to what we see today. Having those ideas that somebody is less than you, not being able to admit that Palestinians have the right to defend themselves, leads to the actions that we're seeing today.
Honey, so Everett says it's like the woman, forget her name, but she was a trumpeter who said her ancestors were colonizers and not murderers. It is taught that white is right in this country, no matter the situation, and it still plays out to this day. And what I also want to say, you really said it so eloquently, Brandon, so thank you for like amplifying my point in reference to covert racism. But what I also want to talk about is those are the things that I've been seeing every day. And for me to be in an environment as an equal opportunity advisor, and Brandon, you know that situation where there was someone that made a statement in a very, very, very condescending way. Basically, this individual said, this is a group of EO advisors now. So this is not people that are out the military. These are other EOAs. And this white man said, well, you know what? I don't know who said that over there. And it was a black woman that he was referring to. But I'm tired of people making everything about race.
Mm.
So for me, hearing that, I was like, wow. So not only did you call that person a person that's just over there, you didn't even say her name, or you didn't even like ask, hey, what's your name? So to her point, you could even just say to her point, or to counter the point. Because at the end of the day, it's fine to say like, okay, what you need to say. But the way you say it is a way you sound so annoyed that people are making things about race. Like, why are you guilty of something? Because if you're so bent out of shape about things being about race, but you don't have to ever worry about things being about race concerning you. So why would you be worried about someone else making something about race, but when it comes to you, it's not about race? So ever since it becomes a level of comfort to be able to sit in a safe space, a safe place, and not go out on the ledge and say they have the right to defend themselves, does not want to be kicked out of the group. They can still be superior while appearing to care.
Yeah, and you know what? I think, I want to say most things in the world that we exist in, if you take the time, I'm all about taking a deep breath. I'm all about slow it down, slow everything down. Really think about your actions and think about your feelings and think about your response. Because everything is trying to tell us how we should feel, how we should respond, even our friends, even our family, especially when you're trying to grow, right? People want to keep you back. I remember when you used to be fun, now you're boring, or this and that, because you're trying to do what's better for yourself. But I would add to what Everett is saying.
It's how you say it. It's not even a lot of the times what people say. It's how it came out, because the way that individual came out was just, and sounded like he was about to catch a case.
Yeah.
Just somebody making something about race. So it's even more than just a statement. It's how you said it to me. So my defenses are up because you're dismissing my point.
Yeah, and so no, you good. I mean, I think, because I still remember my point. I think that the issue is that it's more spiritual than most people are giving credit to. I realized something. I was talking to Alex earlier, and I said, he asked the question. So I'm gonna make my analogy. He asked the question. He talked about how he sees a lot of straight men, and like he'd be like, "Why are they looking so rough?" And this idea just came to my mind. This idea just came to my mind, and it's that like we're taught in society that men are not emotional, and we're taught that we got to be hard and all this stuff. And we're taught that women are the emotional creatures. But for anybody who's ever served in the military, that men are emotional. Men have egos. Men express anger well, but when it comes to other emotions, we're told not to express those because we got to be tough. And the way that I connect that to what we're saying here is that this is a deeply spiritual matter. And now it's to the point to where everybody knows what's going on, right? Everybody sees what's going on. And if you choose to be delusional and believe the lie over the truth, at that point, how much closer are you to selling your soul? To me, the gentleman who worked for the State Department, he sold his soul. He couldn't even admit, and he was given a second opportunity from another reporter who re-quoted back to him, restated what he said, and yet he still could not admit as a State Department official, because guess what? He chose his affiliation over his character. And each and every single one of us humans is going to have to face that. And we probably already been in situations where we had to face, are we going to choose our character or are we going to choose our affiliation? Because at the end of the day, we're going to be judged on what we do by the Most High on those two things.
That's powerful. I mean, and that's the reason why when I looked at that, I was like, he's a perfect example of what's going on right now. What's going on with ordinary people. Like if this is a State Department official, I know it's going on just throughout the country. That kind of attitude is what is going on throughout this country. So for anyone, Tim Scott, to say that this is not a racist country, you should be ashamed of yourself.
But it's crazy too, because like it's almost like it's like the devil. And then we'll get to Everett's comment. It's like the devil, right? Satan used the truth when he went to Eve. He used the truth, but then sprinkled it. So Tim Scott said it's not a racist country, but then he talked about how he'd been pulled over 18 times. Then he talked about the police reform that he's put forth.
By 10.
You know what I'm saying?
By 10. Everett says, I don't even want to talk about Tim Scott no more. It is always easier to go with the flow than it is to stand on that island.
So let's talk. Oh, okay. So that Palestinian gentleman who's so handsome,
right?
Who was I think he had an article in the Washington Post. Then he went on CNN. Then he went on MSNBC. I don't know. I think he was on all the major news sites. And that woman asked him a question, and he fired right back. And he was like, "Do you support, my family living under occupation?" And he stated so eloquently. What's his name? Muhammad. I forget the last name. It's Muhammad something. I'm gonna start taking notes so I can, give the proper name, or I'll look it up in a few minutes. But this gentleman articulated very well what's going on. And I think because he was in the Washington Post, that's how he was able to get on all these major news sites, because the stuff he was saying, I mean, what I'm trying to get at is the truth is going to cost you something. But the Most High told us that. He told us we was going to be persecuted for his name's sake. I mean, I've been in trouble in the military more for doing the right thing and being who the Army told me to be, the be, no, do, the enforce regulations, you know what I'm saying? I've been in trouble more for that than anything. But I will say this: no weapon formed against me prospered. I've been they huffed and they puffed, and expected me to get down or lay down, and sometimes by some senior Black leaders in the military.
Yeah, and I've had senior Black leaders, and I'm going a little off topic, but I've had senior Black leaders, and I'm not talking about Everett, okay, but senior because Everett was my son first class. But senior Black leaders back when I was a specialist in private to fix my walk. Don't walk like that. You walking too prissy. Bring your arms in. All those little things, those little microaggressions that I experienced, where I'm like, I'm just being mean. This is how I walk. If I have a sachet, I have a sachet. What does that bother? Why does it bother you that I sachet when I walk like RuPaul? Like why? Why
you? Because Andre was sachet. I seen you at DM and I said, okay.
Boom. So I don't play. Like I embrace who I am, and I think it bothers people that I'm bold in that. I'm not arrogant or anything like that, but yeah, I'm definitely confident and very fierce, I should say. I feel that I am fierce, and I think that to that point of especially predominantly with Black men, because I can't really speak on white men or anything like that, but with Black men, as you stated earlier, just this whole hyper masculinity, this complex that you can't show emotion or can't, it's sad. And I mean, I'm guilty of that too, where in my past I would hold back tears. Why? Why? Let it out. I just went all in a tangent, but I mean, I just had to.
No, you good. I think it's very important to be authentically you. And I think there's people who want to be authentically themselves, but they're in some type of prison. And they, when they see you free, it's kind of like the Harriet Tubman thing. They see you free, but then they get jealous and they don't, instead of asking and finding out, like, how are you this way? Instead of finding out how are you authentically you and you ain't scared of nobody. They would rather judge you and not be your friend because of what they see.
So Everett said, it's that stigma we are raised with. And yes, we were raised I know I was raised that way. And then Starsha says, I know you're a walk from a mile away. Yes, girl. Starsha knows. Listen, Starsha knows my walk, honey, and she celebrates my walk, and I appreciate that so much. She celebrates how I sashay, okay? But yeah, like that is the struggle, but I did not allow it to be a struggle. I let it be my stepping stool. Boom.
You let it be your what?
Stepping stool.
Okay. And he said he'll make your enemies your what?
Footstool.
So what you got to worry about?
Nothing.
Well, Lil Wayne said, I ain't got no worries.
Okay, Lil Wayne, I can't. With Lil Wayne,
I can't either. But yeah, I just don't. I think that's how I'm living my life, and like let's revisit some other topics too. Like we talked about relationships during the pandemic and all this stuff. And I do think it is a time, if you're going to seek the Most High, you do have to know how to put yourself first.
Oh, what did I post today? What did I post? Brandon.
Hallelujah.
Let me go to the post. Hold on, y'all.
Your non-verbs be killing.
So my post says, be kind to everyone, including yourself. First, boo. Like there's no way that you can be kind to anyone else if you are not being kind to yourself. How? I know I'm on fire today. Facials, I know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because I would say for me, it took then Andre, you respond, but I would say it took the Most High to teach me how to love myself, because it's so easy to get caught off in pride, especially when you're successful, especially when you're anointed. How about that? When you're gifted and you're anointed, it's so easy because Andre, you was up in the front of the church getting I was up reading my poems, you know what I'm saying? Like I've always been anointed, and I always known it from a young age. It's so easy to get caught up in, and then when you're successful in the military, and you 21, you out there rocking it, you a sergeant, and then you a staff sergeant, got a Chrysler 300 with 24-inch rims, and you just, what I'm saying, you just doing your thing, and you living your life, and you experiencing all this stuff and successful. It's real easy to get caught off in pride or material gain. And sometimes it's easy to get caught off in material gain, even when you're up in the church, because they're like, God's going to bless you. God's going to do it. He going to give you a big house. He going to give you a nice car. He going to, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's real easy to lose yourself. So I think it, first of all, takes the Most High so you can know how to love yourself authentically and love yourself with balance, not too much, not too little. And then there's times where he teaches you how to put yourself first, because it's about you and him and your purpose that he has for you to do. That sometimes, guess what? Ain't nobody gonna understand. Not your mama, not your daddy, not your best friend. Sometimes only you and the Most High are gonna understand it, and that has to be good enough for you.
I mean, I don't even know how to respond after that. That was beautifully.
Thank you. Well, I'm just asking, like, how did you what motivated you to be authentic? Like, I'm sure your connection with the Most High was in there, and whatever else.
Yeah, that's a good question. I was just so captivated by your words. I was like, oh Lord, I don't even know how I'm gonna answer. Let's read Everett's comment. Life will humble you when you get too far out of pocket.
See?
Boop. That's a boop right there. And what's interesting is I knew I had a tight relationship with the Most High even back when I was a teenager and was going through, as Brandon knows, and a few of my friends know, I went through this terrible thing of like me being too soft and then praying the gay away and laying hands on me at the altar. And now, mind you, I'm on the praise team, I'm in the choir, and I think what I did during that time was to say, you know what? In my mind, I'm like, bless their hearts, because I'm still gonna be me, and I'm still gonna do me. So while you're over here trying to play my gay away in your false reality or whatever, I'm gonna be living my best life. And I think during that time, it had to be the Most High talking to me and saying, Andre, you're good. During that time, I'm talking about 14, 15, 16 years old, me being told, you're good.
Mm-hmm.
Don't feel guilty about who you are. And here I am. So I think that even during that time when I was going through all that turmoil about my sexuality and my femininity, I just had to continuously remind myself that I'm good.
Mm.
The Most High does not make mistakes. Remember that. Yes, Everett. Thank you. So I think with that, I believe I really strongly believe during that time, that's eons ago. But I was told that you're good, and I didn't have any guilt. I didn't have any like, oh my God, am I really supposed to be gay, or am I supposed to be? I never had those thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
I had to be very calculated on when I came out to my family, because I came out after I was in the service, after I left my
Mm-hmm.
family. I joined right out of high school. So that's the reason why I did not like tell them. But those are
Yeah.
people the Most High knew. Those
Mm-hmm.
are people that
Yeah.
I waited to tell that I was homosexual. But
Mm-hmm.
so
I
I
feel
think
you.
that what made me remain authentic was the constant reminders from the Most High and the relationship I had with the Most High at 14, 15, and
Mm-hmm.
16, that I'm good. And I think it
Mm-hmm.
all is rooted in how my relationship is with Him. Ever says you were made unique in His eyes. He does not look for others' approval for you. He approves from the beginning, and that is enough. I mean, come on, Everett. You better be preached. You better be preaching.
And I'm getting ready to close.
And he says, and I am done. You ain't got to be done, Everett. Bring,
Yeah,
bring
keep it
the
coming.
Lord, okay? But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, for sure. I definitely remained authentic due to my relationship with the Most High. I think that's an easy answer. I guess I
Yeah.
was trying to come up with something because you spoke so eloquently before I started talking. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's what it was. Even as
Mm-hmm.
a teenager, I had a good relationship with him. I think it kind of fell apart when I joined the military because I was called faggot and all that as a private and specialist and all that stuff. And I kind of
Mm-hmm.
lost my way a little bit. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I came back around, and here I
Mm-hmm.
am.
Here he is. Yeah, for me it was a little bit different. I did try to pray the gay away for 11 years, but during that time, like so much had happened. I mean, I was a youth pastor at 20, not really a youth pastor. I was a pastor at 21. The plaque's on the wall over there. See that one? It's that one. Just to remind myself, for no other reason but to remind myself of who I am. And I was also a sergeant at 21. And so it was just like a lot of things going on. And even though like at the time I may have felt like being gay was a sin, there's one thing that I just always heard from the Holy Spirit, and that was obedience is better than sacrifice. Like, you know who you are, you're gifted, I've gifted you. And so you better do what I told you to do. That's what I felt like the Most High was telling me. Like, you better preach, you better lay hands. I was okay. So the funny story, real quick, I was in Kentucky, stationed at Fort Knox, and this was apostolic, huh?
This is where I'm at. Fort Knox.
Yeah, yes. So I was 21, right? Okay, and I know I'm Almody. So I was up at the church, right? And it was the sister church, and the sister church was predominantly white. And this is apostolic. So, they wear the ponytail and the long dresses and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was in the apostolic church, and they be going hard. They be like, in the apostolic church, we believe in the oneness of God and all this stuff. And I'm like, can I just preach? Why I got to do all of that? Can I just use the gift that God's given me? So I am there. And the Holy Spirit's like, go up and start laying hands on people. I'm like, what? Go up and start laying hands on people. I'm like, for real? For real though? Like, for real, in these white people church? Like, this is in Kentucky, the Klan started here. I'm like, you want me to do what? And I did.
This was in Radcliffe?
No, it was in
Shepherdsville?
somewhere in Louisville.
In Louisville.
Somewhere in Louisville, out there. One of them towns out there somewhere. Because I don't even remember where it was, to be honest. But it wasn't Radcliffe though. Somewhere where it was this huge church. And I obeyed the Holy Spirit. And when I did, it was like everybody went. And then they heard me start praying. Then people started falling out. They was like, and then they went back to whatever they were doing. I was like laying hands on people. I was praying for people. I was out there working the altar, honey. And I have dreams. Let me just say too, I have dreams about that. I have dreams that we're gonna take Vibelytical Show on the road, and I just have dreams that we're gonna connect with people personally. And then I feel like when we do that, like we're gonna have an upper room experience. We're gonna have like an Acts chapter 2 experience. Cause like once we talk about the issues that we talk about and get people all in the atmosphere of love, I feel like we're gonna have just some moments where it's gonna be people weeping. It's gonna be people get healed just from just being, we just having conversation. You know how I know this? Because it's happened before. And I just want to take a moment right now and say Andre is the perfect person for this. I'm so glad that, you know what I'm saying, he said yes to do the show with me. But like I just feel like that's what's gonna happen. I've done Bible study and I'm just reading and people just weeping as I'm doing Bible study. I'm just like, oh, okay.
You didn't hit a
You know what
nerve.
I'm saying?
You didn't hit a nerve.
Yeah, like I'm just reading, I'm just flowing. And I think that's what's going to happen. It's going to be so amazing when we do get to take the show on the road and like connect with people. You know, I can see us, you know, it's a dream, you know, that the Most High don't ever have to make true. But he said, how big, I feel like it's like, how much can you believe that we could sell out Madison Square Garden and like just be there and not even sell it out. What if we could sponsor everybody to come? Like how big? Like I don't want to believe God just for $1 billion or $1 million. Like what if we could give millions of dollars away? Like I really do think that by our powers combined.
Yeah, and you know what though, and what you just saying about the millions given away, what I'm thinking about is, I mean, there is going to be incentive on what we're doing too. So I feel like it may not be about we may fund going to Madison Square Gardens, but we may
Yeah.
do endorsement deals though.
Yeah.
So think about those endorsement deals where we're contracted to promote
Yeah.
a brand. So like,
Yeah.
so it's not like we're not going to get any money in that, but I feel like if it is, it'll be through endorsement deals. So you know how like they say like singers and actors, you know, they don't make much money doing this, but the endorsement deals is where majority of their network comes from.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you just never know. Like, what if
Yeah.
Reebok called me like, "Hey, we want to promote your promote." I mean, I'm just throwing out a brand, but you know, like the endorsement deals is what really bring in the money, and I mean, you know, negotiating that and be like, okay, well, you know, I'm promoting you, promote me, promote you, you know, so.
Right.
But yeah, I definitely envision that as well. You have dreams. I don't really have dreams about it, but I definitely have a vision for the going on the road and stuff like that, and staying in the same format where you know I provide the academia and all that, come with that spiritual aspect that always ties in. And I feel like we're always right on time with topics, and it kind of flows with the events going on in the world. So yeah, I mean, I definitely see us growing in that capacity. I mean, listen, for us to be knocking on 400 followers and we just created this page, I mean, you know. So that's a good feeling. But let's read Everett's comment. The best thing I can say, at least I hope I say it right, is that you did not make you did not
Make
make
it the focal.
who you are. Your sexuality is a part of you, not the total of you. Professional, strong, dependable. Your character has forever been on display. It was an honor.
Hallelujah. You better uplift and edify.
And I'm done again. Okay. Captain Planet, really, Brandon? So thank you for those kind words, Everett. Yeah, my sexuality has nothing to do with my relationship with the Most High or anything like that. And it's refreshing to hear things like that because it just reminds me that I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm living my life.
Yeah. Yep. And to give one another the space and grace to do that, I think is a powerful thing because, you know, religious institutions, many of them are like, this is the way, you know, you have to come to the Most High. But I mean, if you look at everything Yahusha, the one they call Christ, stood for, he was against, you know, those things because there was no redemption in their ways. You know what I'm saying? They were trying to stone people for sin, and they was guilty of the same sin. Like there was a judgment there. There was, just like the Israel and Palestinian conflict. Like, you don't have the right to defend yourself, but we have the right to blow your.
Yeah, we have a right to invade your space and blow up your house and all that, but they have no right. No, they cannot defend themselves, and that is what that State Department official indirectly said. So,
and I would like to say something too. You know, I'm just, when I say dream, I just, I'm just forecasting. But to me, like, I wanted to do this show just as a platform to glorify the Most High, and everything we do on here is a representation of that, to glorify Him and to introduce people to Him and to show people that you could have a real and authentic relationship with Him, and your life will be easier. You'll also go to war. You'll be at war, because when you want to do right and be righteous, and you're surrounded around people who want to come against you just because you want to do right and be righteous. So you'll go to war, but you'll come out unscathed. I've remained unscathed. And now it's to the point to where it's like, okay, I've been here before. Remember that song, Sunshine Anderson? Heard it all before.
yes.
So I've been here before, and I know, how to go through now. Like, that's the thing about life with the Most High. You go through situations. You go through them. The point is through. You don't stay there, and life is about cycles, times, and seasons. And so you go through your battles, but then you have, a recoup time, and now it's about to be a joyous time. Then you go through another battle, but then you learn that he gives you a peace that surpasses all understanding. Then you living in the eye of the storm. So you're in a constant state of peace. And so, Everett, last time we were on, you said that I hope you're not getting numb to all these situations going on. And I don't think I'm getting numb, but what I will say, the scripture that came to my mind was like, be steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the works of the Most High. Like there's like a balance to how much I allow my spirit to be affected by the things that I hear. So it's like, I need to be aware, right? It says we're in the world, but not of the world. So I need to be aware, because that's how I know how to intercede, and that's how I know how to pray. But at the same time, I need to be removed from the expectation that the world is going to be righteous. Because if I keep thinking that the world is going to be righteous, or that things are going to get better, then I'm probably denying what the scripture has written. And I'm probably not looking at the signs and the seasons and the cycles that we're in. You know what I'm saying? According to the biblical prophecies, according to what's happening in the world, if I'm not paying attention and, allowing the Most High to be my guide, then I'm going to get out of balance. And being out of balance when you're a spiritual person, or when you know of the Most High, is very dangerous, which is what Andre was talking about when we first came on, like people not doing so well and not being able to think straight. Those people, the scripture says, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. So you unstable because you know of the Most High, but you won't turn to Him. So you be like, I don't know what to do. I wasn't ready. But the Most High be like, hey, just ask me. Just ask the right question. Or call Andre or call Brandon. They'll help you find out the right answer with no judgment.
No
Because we ain't perfect. We on our journey too, and we're susceptible to the tricks of Satan just the same way, but we stay prayed up, and we communicate with one another. That's another thing. I was going to talk about how, your relationships and who you spend time with can really affect your ability to have a relationship with the Most High. If you got the wrong people around you, I mean, bad company corrupts. If you hanging out with the wrong folks, you may find it like you can find yourself in situations that you never dreamed of, not knowing who you spending time with, not knowing who and what's going on in their life. Like if you around a bunch of liars and some people who are not honest, I can't even deal with people who can't think for themselves, with world situations. Like I don't want to be around you.
Yeah, I mean, speaking for myself, I've removed friends out of my life that, well, I mean, when I found out the root of why, is because they don't have a relationship with the Most High. And Everett actually knows one of the folks that I cut off. Well, two of the individuals that I cut off.
Yeah.
But I can talk to him about that offline. But yeah, I realized that due to them not having a relationship with the Most High, and them not seeking Him, is is kind of really the root of why we don't talk anymore. But I mean, of course, there were situations and circumstances that took place that pushed it. But the
Mm-hmm.
root, I think the root of it is because they don't have a relationship. And I think that as I'm on this self love journey, yes, Everett, it's yeah, we'll talk about it offline. But what I've noticed is, being that I've been on this self love journey that I've been on, um, I'm there's a TikTok video that talks about this. There's a beautiful black woman that basically talks about how when you're on your self love journey and when you're looking inward, your environment starts to shift. So the way that you used to be prior to you being on the self love journey, it was one way. But now that you start making yourself a priority and you start thinking and doing a lot of self reflection and fixing yourself and getting on the right
Mm-hmm.
track, then your friends or your so-called friends were like, "Dang, what's going on with you? You changed. You acting different." Or
Mm-hmm.
that's not what they used to. No, it's just called growth. And if you're not willing to grow with me,
Mm-hmm.
you can go.
Yep.
You can go. And I have, and I'm not the kind of person that cuts people off. I don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Andre's not like that. I don't do the whole blocking, cutting off, or whatever, because I like to hold on to people that I value in my life. But now, I'm doing it. As soon as I realize that it's not aligning with how I live my life and how I'm growing and evolving,
Mm-hmm.
I can really love you from afar. And that's
Yeah.
exactly what I'm doing. I'm removing them out of my life, but I'm loving them from afar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's important to highlight that these aren't like, simple disagreements. It's like people who ain't taking care of yourself, or you ain't like, if you the way that you treat yourself, you are a danger and a threat to me if I'm around you.
Come on, Brandon. Starsha says, "No, you're not. That's usually me. My cutoff game is strong." And see, Starsha knows me. It takes
Mm-hmm.
a lot. And Starsha knows me, and Starsha, Lord, we're going on a decade knowing each other. But
Mm-hmm.
the thing is that for me, that is what it is. Like I don't do that. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
a person that's gonna try to be the fixer or try to remedy the situation. But now I'm like, no, like I gotta make sure I'm looking out for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do this anymore. So my cutoff
Yeah.
game was not strong, but it's growing. It's definitely
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna match Starsha's by the end of 2021 because I don't have
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. I ain't got time. Yeah, and I think for me too, like, who I spend time with, like I definitely pray about that too. Who is mattering in my life, who has value in my life, and am I valuing somebody who doesn't value me, if it's a potential partner, or am I valuing somebody too much? Or because let's face it, as a human being, your relationship with a human being could start to um overstep even your relationship with the Most High. You can start valuing the opinion of your mother or your father or somebody that you love more than you seek the Most High, and that can become dangerous. And when it comes to living a balanced life, like, the Most High is going to lead you and guide you in everything. He's going to give you the right friends to be around. He's going to show you the right people. And guess what? Some of those relationships, it might hurt when they get cut off, but he's going to put the people who will build you up and uplift and edify you, like this Biblitical show.
Boop, boop. Everett said something. The comment before. Do you see the comment before it? before that one. You want to put that one up? Steve Harvey said this, and I'm not a fan of his at all, but he said, everyone who come with you can't go with you. Your journey is yours. No one should hinder you in that journey. Very true. And then Everett also says, who am I valuing that does not value me? That is a good question to ask yourself.
I agree. And let me say too, huh?
No, I was just gonna say, like, that ties into what I'll have to talk to Everett about offline.
Yeah. And I think too, even that piece, who are you valuing? What do you say? Who am I valuing that does not value me? I even think when it comes to that, taking that up with the Most High, especially when it's a family member or your parents, and depending on who you are, if you value that relationship, then it may be worth trying to resuscitate it. It may be, and have you communicated and stated certain things is obvious. Like you cross the line, you just cross the line. It may not need to be no explanation. But when it's somebody that you value, if you haven't addressed those situations and really brought it out and made it plain, that might be a strategy. But definitely praying about what you should do in that situation, because I've been there.
Yeah, I mean, regardless to how I'm trying to make sure I say this in the best way, regardless to how things turn out. Because one thing that we learned at Diomi, Brandon and I, you're not listening to agree, you're listening to understand. And if I'm not around people that, you don't have to agree with what I say, but you are going to understand it and respect it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you mess that up and you don't hear me, or you devalue what I'm saying, or dismiss, or not, or circumvent and move around what I'm saying, then we have a problem. Because I know that I am a good person that will take a person's perspective and say, I actually understand where you're coming from, but here is mine. Because while I sat there and listened to your perspective and listened to what you had to say, and most times there's validity to their point. There is, but there's validity to mine too. And what you want to do is devalue that. I know I kind of got a little.
Hey, I love it. Andre, you are hilarious.
I'm just saying, like, ooh, Lord,
Yeah.
worked up again, child. Ugh.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah.
I mean, that's very, that's very deep. I mean, that's what it is. And I think I felt the energy from that. And I think it's, it really for me, during this pandemic time, it was just like the people who I thought differently about, who I had known for years, some of those people was just, I saw who they really were and the decisions that they really made. And it became evident.
And Everett says dial it back. That's why I'm dialing it back, because I got a little attitudinal. I know that's not a word. I was kind of lit in that, but yeah, like, no. The old me would have been tolerating it and just trying to move past it. But this time I'm like, no, I got to hit this head on, and I demand respect. Just as much as I give it, I demand it in return. And that's all I'm doing, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, having people in your life who can speak life into you, uplift and edify you, there's no replacement for that. And I think it's time to, when we say take a deep breath, like think about where you come from. Think about if you're a Black person, like where are your roots at? And sometimes you don't even necessarily have to know. Just think and imagine. And when you think about yourself as an indigenous person, when you think about yourself as an indigenous person, when I look at indigenous cultures, do you know how they pass down their history? For example, let's talk about Arabs right quick. So Arab people allegedly, they say, scientists say, this ain't alleged, this scientists say that the Arab genealogy is more accurate than DNA testing because they wrote it all down. And when you think about the indigenous people and you think about humans, because technically speaking, if you really want to go there, we all indigenous. If you want to look at the creation story and all that stuff, like how are people really uplifted and edified? Seen, heard, right? And validated. Every human being, every human being seen, heard, validated, and told who they can be and told who they are,
Yep.
reminded of all these things. So to have people in your life, you need people in your life that can speak life into you, just like Everett just did with you, Andre, who knows you, who acknowledges who you are. Because there's a lot of people in marriages where that ain't happening. There's a lot of people who have friends who aren't doing that. And like, you might need to reevaluate those relationships. You might need to reevaluate those marriages, if that's your situation, and figure out what you can do to fix that situation. Because if you're ever going to accomplish what the Most High has for you to accomplish in this world, everybody had somebody. Yahushua, at first it was like, over 500 disciples or something like that. Then it came down to 12. The 450 left because they got offended by the truth. I posted something the other day, and I'm like, or was it today, that the truth is going to offend people because some people just won't accept it. So having those people to speak life into you, there's no replacement for that. And my prayer is that everyone, who's watching this show and everyone who knows somebody that's watching this show has that, and if you don't have that, be that for somebody. And oftentimes, we just don't understand the power that we have as humans, that when we speak life, it's going to produce something. I mean, think about, I don't have any children, but I was a child once. And I know having the village, you know what I'm saying? Like the whole indigenous thing, like having the village to raise you and having multiple people repeat to you what your parents are saying just in another way was a powerful experience. For me, I just needed to hear it. I guess I was hard-headed. I need to hear it 5 different ways. But what about this though? But what about this? But what about when he said and she said and they did this though? And
Yeah,
so, I needed all bases covered. Huh?
you're a debater. Yeah, you
See?
debate it up.
Yeah. And so that's what makes this whole Palestinian crisis so real and so strong, is because when you look at how they live, it's generations in one household. So if you blow up somebody's house or you steal somebody's house, like, and they don't necessarily live like that because of poverty, maybe some do, but it's just the culture. And so if we start to look at our friends as family and our relationships as something important, just the way that an indigenous person does, then we'll choose who we hang out with. What's Paul doing?
Paul is like, I'll just looks like Paul about to jump up there. Or
No, he's like, am I too big? He a little chunky monkey.
should he the chunkiest cat, Lord?
But
Like
he
he should jump up there, or
can get up there.
oh, okay.
So what else? What else y'all got? Anything else for the people watching?
What is on your minds? Because we don't want to go over an hour and 15, so we got about a few more minutes to chit chat with you all. But yeah, what's on y'all mind? How are y'all doing? Are y'all making it through? Yep, he did. He got up there. But yeah, how are y'all doing? I mean, what I will say is that because I think Brandon and I talked about it, but not this coming Sunday, but the following Sunday, we're gonna have a show, an episode on a topic. So I told Brandon the title already. So he's gonna do his thing and come up with the graphics and all that stuff for that show. Everett says I'm good. Shared a few things with you both that I've seen on Facebook. Not sure if y'all seen them or not. Oh, I'm
Can you do it again? I think I seen something. I just can't remember if I replied or not. I thought I did though.
I'll look again. Oh, Starsha said, I'm just tired. Girl, you and me both. You and me
Mm-hmm.
both. Girl, like I'm already ready for the weekend and we got one more day. So girl, tomorrow's Friday though, girl. Tomorrow's Friday. We're
Just
almost there.
hold tight.
We're
Mm-hmm.
almost there, girl. But yeah, I have a topic already for the next show. We're gonna shoot for the 23rd to come back with the topic. Well, we have the topic, but that's when I'll talk about it. Is on the 23rd. But we'll be back next week for a pop up again. Um, I think I like Thursdays. I think we're gonna have to stick to Thursdays. We get a whole lot more interaction on Thursdays, so I like
Yeah.
the Thursday pop ups.
Okay.
Ever says do some push ups, Starsha. But yeah, I mean
Mm-hmm.
that's all I got. I don't really have anything else.
Okay.
I don't want to hold on. Well, you say something to the people, Brandon. I'm about to look something up real quick.
She said she got a profile for that. Yeah, I just want to encourage everybody, to stay on your righteous path, and don't live in a state of fear. I feel like the scripture that says and Satan will wear out the saints of the Most High, and I feel like everything that's happening right now is just to do that. Like, there's always a crisis, right? There's always something going on. The gas crisis, the pipeline crisis, Black folks being murdered in the street, like just over and over, just inundated. Mass shootings, like how many mass shootings have happened this year? And then, whatever you're watching, because a lot of people in the house, right? We're watching Netflix, like be on guard spiritually with what you're watching. Some of these shows, like the depravity of like Handmaid's Tale. I couldn't really do that. Like, it was just a bit much for me. But I thought about forcing myself to watch it because I did see some clips in there where it kind of like showed like these people throwing over the government and stuff. And like, I was like, oh, that's like, it seemed like too real at what's happening now. And I told Andre to watch that movie Without Remorse, the Tom Clancy one on Amazon Prime. And there was a scene that stood out to me. And that's the scene with the Secretary of State. And I don't want to ruin the movie for anybody who hasn't watched it. But that scene, guess what? I can put it in the comments, huh? That scene right there on that show, I'm like, I watched that movie, and then 3 days later, allegedly Russia did a cyber attack, and then the gas shortage happened. But that movie, it just felt so real. That's all I could say, if without sharing all of the movie. So if you haven't seen it, I thought it was a good movie. It was pretty gangster. But I'm so glad I didn't join the CIA, because I was going to do that. I looked up FBI, CIA every day when I was in high school. I met people in the FBI. I was on my way. I just wanted a badge and a gun and a fancy suit. That's it.
Well, I do want to end on a good note because we're heavy tonight, which, I mean, it's to be expected. But I want to shout out Jaden Smith. So if y'all know who Jaden Smith is Will Smith's son. So handsome. But I want to shout him out because he is opening a restaurant where homeless people can eat for free. So I want to read a little bit of the article. So he has a restaurant called I Love You. Literally, the restaurant's called I Love You, and it builds on the efforts he made to help feed homeless people on Los Angeles Skid Row 2 years ago. So this is in 2019. In order for the concept to work, Jaden had to figure out an unusual strategy to help offset costs. So basically, it's saying it's a restaurant where anybody can go in there, but if a homeless person goes in there, then they will be eating for free. So those who pay will just pay more to pay for the person behind them. So if
that's very cool.
Someone that's homeless walks in with someone that actually has the money, that person, in order to eat, so you will not be able to eat if you're just getting it for yourself. You have to pay you have to be buying something for a homeless person. So
That's
it makes
very
it
nice.
kind of like oh, you can enjoy our food, but are you going to help out that other person? So I thought that was really creative of Jaden to open this restaurant in Los Angeles. It's called I Love You. I guess y'all can look it up. But yeah, it basically says those who pay will pay more to pay for the person behind them. So he partnered with Lyft, like Uber, but Lyft.
Yep.
Provide free rides to people in communities like Flint, Michigan, so that they have access to clean water, grocery stores, and work opportunities. And he also has a boxed water initiative aimed at encouraging people to use more environmentally friendly methods of drinking portable water than plastic bottles. So Jaden is coming off basically a successful 2020 that saw the well-received release of his Cool Tape Volume 3. So I guess I think that's some production he's working on. But yeah, so I just wanted to shout out Jaden Smith for that. Because I mean, it just lets you know that if you have the platform and you have the ability to help others, that I mean, that's a very good way to end the show. That's what we're doing. We're uplifting and edifying you, you all that are watching, and we're so honored and privileged to even be doing that.
Thank you.
Someone like Jaden Smith doing that, I mean, it's just like I've always known Jaden and Willow, the kids of Will and Jada. They've always had some very their spirits are in the right place. I really feel that they're not all about the hoopla of celebrity, and they're not really out there like heavy in the limelight. I mean, they're well known through Will and Jada, but I just like their individuality. So shout out to Jaden Smith.
Shout out to Jaden.
Who is like 22 now. Like he is like a grown man. Like I'm just blown away.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Thank you everyone for watching. Like, share, comment. Even if you watch this after the live. And thank you all for your support. We're praying for you. Follow us on our Instagram at Vibelytical. I probably need to make us a website at some point. But yeah, until next time, we'll see you on the 23rd. Do we have a time established for that?
So we were gonna do the 8 p.m. for the 23rd. Yeah.
Oh, that's a pop-up?
No, that's the pop-up is gonna be Thursday at 8. So next Thursday we'll be back for a pop-up, and then Sunday on the 23rd we're gonna have a new topic, and I'm excited. So the pop-up is gonna be, I think that Thursday is like the 20th or something like that. Then the 20th we'll be back for a pop-up. And then the 23rd, we'll have an episode of a topic. So
I just forgot all that right now.
I got you.
All right. See y'all. Have a blessed one.